Alrighty. First things first, everybody say hello to Facebook. Hi, Facebook. Hi. All right, we're here to do the thing. It is time for the roundtable to discuss the games of the final two. Only thing left for you guys to discover is who the final two are. Currently, we're missing Phil and Keyshawn. They will be joining us a little bit later. But any guesses as to who the final member of the jury is?
Leaning towards Darnell.
Darnell for sure. I think we'll be here.
Alrighty, guesses are Darnell. Let's see if you are right. Introducing juror number 9. And it is, in fact,
All
Darnell.
right, I am on the other.
Okay.
Really?
Oh my
Oh,
god.
like I'm
Classic
going.
Darn.
I can't wait to cuss him out. Oh, anyway. So your final two is officially for season 8. Devin and Cody. To explain what happened, part 1 was won by Darnell. We went into part 2 where Devin and Cody faced off. Devin won part 2. He faced off against Darnell. Devin won part 3, ultimately deciding to take Cody with him, making Darnell your final juror. So, let's talk about.
Sorry.
Jesus.
I'm sorry. It was my mom. She just had surgery today, and she randomly called me literally while I was sitting in the waiting room. Hi, y'all. Missed y'all so much.
Right now.
I
Let
don't
Hey,
know.
buddy.
let's talk let's talk about the final two's games. First, let me just give off my spiel that I give off every season. I genuinely, hear me clearly, do not give a fuck who you vote for. Okay? My job is just to challenge you. If I ask you a question that challenges your way of thinking, I'm not trying to root for one person over the other. I'm just trying to get you to think about something a different way. So maybe you could see something about the other person's game that you may not have noticed before. I'll try and answer any or give insight to any little things that may be necessary without sort of speaking for both members of the jury. But let me again make it very clear, I do not give a fuck who wins. I do not give a fuck how y'all vote. Okay? I feel like y'all understand that, but I just need it to be said. So, we will talk about the final two. I like to break it up, talk about their social game, talk about their competitive game, talk about their strategic game. So we will start off. Let's start off with Cody. We will start off talking about Cody's social game. Feel free to jump in. Anybody can start. What are you guys' thought about Cody's social game?
Very, I would say it would be untrustworthy for Cody sometimes. It always seemed one-sided when talking to Cody.
Your final rare. I have a bit of a follow up, but I want to see if anybody else has anything else to say about Cody's social game
I
first.
think it was hard to talk to him
Hmm.
sometimes. Um, but also by mostly social doing, he's gotten to the final two after he came back in the game, made it through those parts with like the things that happened while he wasn't there. So that's something to
Hmm.
look at.
I feel like for me, it was easy to talk to Cody because I was the one that initiated the conversation when he first came back. And I think that he just really wanted someone to maybe reach out to him first and get a little bit something going because he wanted people to like make chats and I was willing to do that. And I think that when he saw that, people were interested in working with him, he did sort of return that same energy. You just had to be the first one to do that. So that was kind of my
Uh,
experience.
I agree with both. you and Michael. I feel like in the beginning of the game, he came off kind of real hard, real aggressive, real fast, and it rubbed people the wrong way, and then he got eliminated. And then when he came back, I feel for me, it was a lot of redemption. And so I initiated the conversation, and we had a pretty good relationship until we were on the block together.
Yeah, I think when it comes to Cody and his social, once he feels like he can trust you, he tends to open up more. At least with me, um, he tended to open up more, and then we were more comfortable talking to one another more openly. But I don't know. I think it's a trust thing with him, and he did have a lot of like trust issues when he came back into the game, and so it was hard for him to just like randomly start opening up to people and trusting people. But once he did find those people, he did become more social with them. Like I remember he would message me on days that we didn't have shit going on, just checking to see how I was doing and stuff. And I was like, "Oh God, is this Cody doing this?" And it, I definitely think that it was like also like a trust thing with him, and he didn't want to give out any information out of fear of it getting back to the person that he had suspicions about.
Yeah, but I mean, Cody also came back with me in the battle back, and the conversation, like you would have thought that he would have had some kind of trust with me, but the night that he attacked, well, not I wouldn't say attacked, but like yelled at me or whatever, it kind of broken that trust, and that's why I think that's where it ended our friendship. But we never really like talked about any game. It was just basically like, how are you doing after the battle back? It's all we ever talked about was the battle back, and never wanted to establish anything with me.
So to challenge that a little bit, is it? I think it's safe to say that in this All Stars environment, that there were a lot of you that played very close to the chest, and I would argue that even more so for say Michael and Cody because they're jumping into what was very clearly an active war, right? Um, so I guess my question would be like, how much for both Devin and Cody? Like, how much are you guys penalizing a player for keeping their cards close to their chest instead of playing a little bit more open?
Analyzing them a lot. That's all I can say. I tried with Cody and I tried like a lot, and I feel like at some point I even gave him a lot of information and it was the same thing. And I don't think that I didn't take it personal, and I don't think it was anything against me. I just think that he had probably already built the trust with somebody else in the game before I was able to build that with him. And I didn't give up. I still did try talking to Cody, but based off of the relationship that I had with him in this game, that's where I'm leaning. Like I wouldn't be voting for him based off of that. But I'm open to hearing what everybody else, like everybody else's relationships with him, because I'm a very open-minded person. Like even though I didn't have a game with him, like I don't see his game. So, and since I was the first juror, I would love to hear everybody else's opinion on what his game was. So I am like open to hearing, but I mean, for me, it's like very clear who has the better game.
So for those of you that have more insight into Cody as a social player, do you feel that Cody was intentionally selective in terms of who he was more open with and who he was more guarded with?
He had to be,
I think that's what it
coming
sounds like.
coming back so late in the game. Cody and I, we both struggled to latch on to anybody because we didn't know who had what and where everybody was at. So for Cody to make it to the final two with just pure social, I think that's a medal towards Cody, because he got himself to the final two based off of his social after coming back so late in the game.
Mhm.
Sam, you're
I
making
don't
a face.
know. I see it. I don't know. I see it
Is
as
it giving goat?
it's giving. Okay, it's giving. Okay, this is just my honest opinion. I think that you guys coming in, for sure, you guys were definitely holding, everything close, which I 1000% understand, because I even said that, like, if I was to go out and come back at that point in the game, I would not know what the fuck to do, right? So I understand that. I think that Cody probably already knew Devin's position in this game and latched onto that. That's how I see it. I also see it as Devin latched onto him also for a number.
I can't lie to you on that one because when I jumped into, I latched on to Devin. But Devin also came to me as well, saying how happy every single day, how happy he was that I came back. Like at some point, it kind of got old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Blazing.
So,
We'll we'll
yeah,
we'll, we'll get into Devin in a second, but I want to comment on that point of Cody sort of latching on to Devin, who was a big um, sort of entity in this house, right? Like, is that also something that you hold against Cody, or is that something that you feel socially is impressive and smart of him to do?
I
I
feel like
think
if he was gonna,
I think
I'm
it's
sorry.
smart.
I feel
No,
like
go ahead,
if
Zach.
of any no, I just of anybody to latch onto, I feel like Devin was the perfect person to latch onto because look where I got him. I mean, there's no denying that he latched on to the right person if he was going to latch on to anybody. And I don't blame him at all for, you know, keeping things close, playing close or whatever, because I think he was well aware of information spreading around and I was, kind of at the I had said stuff to other people that was getting out constantly. So it's like I don't really blame him at all for the way that he came back in and latched on to Devin at all. I think that was the perfect move, honestly.
I think personally for him, when he came back, he won an HOH, but it was taken away from him.
Yeah.
And he was ranked at the very bottom. So I felt like him coming back, he already felt like he had a target on his back. And then he didn't really mind at that point because he kind of faded into the background because there was everybody else fighting each other. Like Devin and I literally, I was trying to find every way that I could get Devin and a rear out, to be honest.
Work with my first homophobic.
Um,
Are you kidding me, Darnell?
I'm sorry. I thought it was muted. I was trying to
um,
exit out a video. I'm so sorry.
so I think Cody latched on to Devin because why not? Like he was talking to me, he was talking to Zach, he was talking to Devin closely, he was talking to Sam closely. Like, I mean, he did what he had to do to stay in the game, and that's why he got where he got to.
Any last thoughts on Cody's social game?
I think he did the best with the cards that he was dealt. Um,
Alrighty. So
Um, I
go ahead.
I will say Cody in messages and then like Cody on Zoom were two completely different people. And it stressed me out sometimes being on Zoom with him. But like the conversations in Messenger were always definitely the complete opposite of how he would be on Zoom, like while we were like not in competition mode or anything.
Alrighty. So let's move on. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about Devin's social game. I know
I think even
this is gonna be a lot, so just jump in. Whoever got Snoops, you start us off.
um I think even just the way that you just um announced it is a testament to like how dominant his social game was throughout. Um he was a very dynamic player. He made a lot of people feel very safe. Um I think he was possibly the most socially dynamic player in the game.
Devin had his hands in all the cookie jars.
So let's talk about it. I know that you all have a lot of thoughts, and I think um, Devin is worthy of unpacking, right? So let's talk about um, what Michael said. Has his hands in a lot of cookie jars. I think you've all played this game before. You've all made
He's
it
a damn
very
baker.
you've all made it you've all made it far in this game before. To do that, you have to sort of have all of your hands in a lot of places. The question is was it obviously it was effective. It got him to the end. How what was the impression that his social game left you as you played with him?
Crazy eyes. Like no. Um I felt like Devin didn't really sleep. Um, he would have his moments where he would be at work and stuff, but like he would still constantly, his wheels would constantly be turning, and he never really let up on the social with, at least with me. But I feel like if it wasn't with me and based on, I mean, if it wasn't just with me, based on the conversations that's going on right now, he did it with everybody else. That's why when you said he had his hand in a lot of cookie jars, he was the baker.
Yeah, he was the one that I think would want to pull me into a Zoom almost every day. If it wasn't a game break, he was messaging me every day. If he was HOH or if I was HOH, he would want to go into the HOH room and have a conversation, or he would just want to go onto the regular Zoom and have a conversation. I do think a lot of that also has to do that he and I didn't really have a alliance per se. I mean, we would have little deals here and there. Like in the beginning, he offered not to put me up if I could do the same thing in return. And it was just like little things. And he kept constantly checking in with me to see about like an extension of a deal or, anything like that. And so I think that, that's, yeah, I just think that he pulled it off super well, is what I'm trying to say.
For me, it was different. um, I think he knew how to create dissension between me and Snoops, and he kind of made that more than it was. He definitely lied to me more than he should have. Um, and it was just kind of unnecessary. I feel like there were things that he didn't necessarily have to say that he said. And then our big blow up, it was like after we talked after that, he was like, "We're gonna fight again." It just is what it is. That's our relationship. And I think that just kind of pissed me off because it was just we don't have to, but you're stirring the pot with me. So we had it was a lot of frenemy energy there.
Definitely agree on the unnecessary thing. That's an understatement.
Ori, I'd love to get to your thoughts on at least Devin's social game.
It feels weird because um, I would consider Devin a friend, and that's how Devin treated me in the game, right? It wasn't like an ally. It wasn't. I don't know. I guess we had that friendly bond already. It just made it really easy for us. And sometimes I can't tell if that's him having a really good social game or just the fact that we've known each other for as long as we have. And so I don't know, to be honest. With me, like I said, though, he's a friend. He had my back. He didn't waver. Um, and I really have nothing negative to say about how he played his social game with me. I think he handled me perfectly. So, but I can only speak for myself. That's me. He earned my vote in that respect. But his job is to earn all of y'all's votes. So
Is there an element of his game where, say, because Courtney, you mentioned that you felt there were moments where it was unnecessary. How much weight does that have for you and anyone that agrees with that sentiment? Does that is how big is that feeling for you? How bad of a taste does that leave you with?
It's massive. It's it is gigantic for me because 2 days before that veto where he evicted me, I had come to the conclusion that if I had lost, I'm out and that's fine, and I was prepared to give Devin my vote. When we had this conversation of him trying to make some kind of deal and then him giving me his word that he was going to keep me and then immediately going back on it, that left a really bad taste in my mouth. And to say, if I told you that I wasn't bitter about it still, that would be a lie. I mean, it's not as bad as it was 2 days ago, but it still holds a lot of weight for me.
that would sting me, to be honest. He didn't do anything like that to me. But had he, I would feel the same exact way. So it's
Yeah.
just like I said, it's different perspectives. It seems like he handled me well, but he handled that very poorly. That is not an advisable move for somebody you're sending to the Jerry.
Yeah.
I can relate.
That
Same with the me versus Cody. It was me, and he was working hard, and it was a lot of I'm working hard to keep you conversations, and I was like, well, why is he working so hard? But just unnecessary things like you don't have to say you plan on keeping me if your game is focused on being honest with everybody and saying what you're going to do and sticking to your word because he pushed that a lot. Um, you just don't have to do that. We knew where we stood.
Yep.
Michael, I'm curious to know how you view Devin's social game as someone who's coming in. Yes, you, Michael, as someone who's coming in during the battle back. What was the impression of Devin's social game? What did you how do you view Devin as a social player?
I view him as a very spectacular social. I mean, he was actually the first person to reach out to me during the battle back when I came back from the battle back, and he made me feel like I actually, I guess, belonged in the season. Because before he knew that I was having regrets after what happened, and I feel like I didn't belong here. I told him that before we left the game for the battle back, and coming back, he made me feel like so welcomed and with open arms, and I think that's probably why I latched onto him so quickly is because he actually made me feel like I actually belonged somewhere in the game, and I think that's actually really huge for me. But I can't really say anything about betrayal because we actually worked very closely together in the game, but we sat on the block together. So I think that's probably like, I mean, he didn't do anything unless he was like fighting for his life, which obviously you have to do it. You know, so that's how I see Devin's point of view. I think Devin's social game was a very huge uh thing for him.
Um, with Devin doing the unnecessary, it makes me think because he was in my inbox like it sounded like he was on the verge of tears the other day when we were in final three. Just so happy to be there and was like, oh my god, we just got to get Cody out. And he did all of that, which like I mean I knew it was full of shit because like I would have cut him if I would have won, but it was just like you're doing so much, but it's like at the same time, it goes back to that story of the man and the snake. Like the man meets this wounded snake, he nurses it back to health, and the snake bites him. And this guy is like, well, snake, why would you do that? And the snake looks at him and it's like, well, you knew I was a snake. And so you can't really be shocked by it because we also voted for him to be the most cutthroat player in the game. And so you can't be shocked by his actions because he was doing what we expected him to do.
Very good point, Samantha.
No, I get it.
I mean, I got to call on you. If I'm being honest, Samantha, a lot of your game is in relationship with Devin. You are talking to Devin a lot this season.
Yeah.
Um, so be real about it. What do you feel about Devin as a social player, whether positive or negative? I, yeah,
I mean, it's not really negative for somebody who also like a rear. I know Devin outside of the game. I've played
Yeah.
games with Devin. I've played a duos game with Devin, and I know how he talks to people. I know how he manipulates people. I know how he puts fear into people. And I knew that like in the beginning, yeah, we were working closely together, but it was already like a few rounds in that I knew that I had to go against Devin just because I knew that he would eventually do it to me. I don't think that he would necessarily do it to me, but he would have the people he was working closely with do it for him. And that's why, like, when I was listening to Courtney say something about like he did all this unnecessary stuff, it's like that's how he plays. So it's like it's good. I think that Devin is an amazing player. I think the way he does things is very intentional. It's very strategic. Um, he didn't he didn't do me dirty in this game. I'm sure Devin was talking shit about me behind my back, and like I know that he's like that. You know what I mean? Like he does that to build that
Trust.
relationship with somebody else in the game, right? So I already knew that. I already expected that, and that's why I had to navigate and go a different way. But I was trying to do that with getting other people to understand a different version of Devin that I know, but like he's too good.
Any last thoughts on Devin's social game? Alrighty, we will move into the competitiveness of both of these players. This will be probably the quickest part of this conversation. We'll start off with Cody's competitive game. What do you think about Cody's competitive game this season? Are you impressed? Are you not impressed? Thoughts?
I'm not necessarily impressed, but you know, he did win two competitions.
He won his way
I know
back
what
into
that
the
can.
house, you know.
Yep.
How much stock does that have to you that he could do that, that he was able to come back into the game and then win HOH.
I give him credit for that, but also just like in comparison, just number wise, I know Devin had a lot more chances to win, but it's a pretty big gap.
Agreed.
Well said. Anybody else?
I mean, I will say that a lot of these competitions, especially towards the end game, are, you have to know your days and your comps, and he wasn't here for half of that. So, I definitely give him a break a little bit, and sure he could have asked for notes or whatever, but that all again boils down to, well, can he trust people to give him the correct information? So I think he really had to rely on other types of strategy, knowing that he wasn't going to win those types of comps. So as far as like competitiveness for him, winning that battle back was huge. I don't really penalize him though for not winning these comps that clearly he had such a massive disadvantage.
Any other thoughts? All right, let's move on to Devin's competitive game. Won some competitions, wasn't like he was Zach, right? But you know, what do you guys think about Devin's competitiveness, competitionness? I don't fucking know. You know what I'm saying?
I'll say from the very first round of this game, like him and Judy sucked. Like they were one of the bottom teams, and at from that moment on, like once he was able to like release the shackles from him and Judy's partnership, like he just didn't let up. Like any chance that he got to win something, he took full advantage of it and went for it. And he wasn't trying to like throw anything. He wasn't like he was willing to win every single competition that he had to win to get him to where he is now.
Can I
From the
just
moment
add to that that I feel like Devin can definitely win a lot of stuff, but it goes back to his social game where it's like he knew he didn't have to. Um, but he knew that when it was time to win, like he would win. He knew that.
Any other thoughts on Devin as a competitor? Competition. Go once, going twice. Sold. Moving on. All right. Let's go to the final segment. The strategy.
Mm.
Um, let's start off again with Cody. What do you guys think about Cody's strategic gameplay and anything positive or negative that sticks out to you as a moment where you go, I think that was good strategy. I think that was bad strategy. Let's talk about it. And Keyshawn's here, actually, so we will let Keyshawn start us off on this. Hey, Keekster.
Darnell,
It is
no.
Darnell. Yes, yes. Just to give you a recap of what happened, Keekster. Darnell won part one. Devin won part two. faced off with Darnell in part three, where Devin won part three, ultimately decided to
Devin
take
and Cody.
Devin and Cody. Yes. I am curious to know, just give us a brief thought about Cody's strategic, or not strategic, Cody's competitive and social game. What do you think about Cody competitively and Cody socially so far, or this
Um,
season?
Competitively, Cody's competitive. I do think he gave his all to at least for while we were both there together. I do think he gave his all to each competition that he could. I think similar to Michael, they got dealt an interesting card where they got cut and then came back. So socially, I think for him to come back where the game was already established, where people were kind of already aligned, and where he knew a lot of people voted him to leave the first go round, um, he's doing something right. I don't think it's all him just being drug along. He's doing something that clearly the rest of us have not.
So, and then I know I as quickly as you can talk to me about Devin socially and Devin competitively. Your thoughts.
Socially, eh, Devin is everywhere. Like from the get go. Like I I applaud it. I don't have anything negative to say about it. Like he played the game. I feel like socially we played similar games. He in this go he played it better. And that's where he's at. Competitively, like there was a period of time where he was busting ass and winning damn near everything. So, love him or hate him, he's earned the right to be here too. Probably more than I'm not gonna say more than well, yeah, I think more than Cody at this point.
And now we're talking about both of the players strategically. We did go over Cody. What do you think about Cody strategically? Did we go Cody? No. Are we on Cody now? Or are we doing? I'm getting a little. We're on Cody now. Okay.
Darnell, did you cut your hair?
No, he got his slick back.
Okay, come on, slick back.
Okay.
Like the
So
pimp.
So what do you think? So start us off. What do you think about Cody strategically this season? How would you view Cody as a strategic player?
in this game specifically,
That's the only one we could be talking about.
yeah, I to be fair, smartass, um, I don't think much about Cody's game strategically, and I don't mean that in a shady way. I think there wasn't a lot of time for me to kind of see it. I think the one thing that he probably had in mind, I'm gonna say that he probably had in mind was to come back, not make any waves, and just lay in the cut as much as possible. And if that was his strategy, then it worked. Outside of that, I don't know much else of what the strategy could have been coming back mid game and then making it to the final two.
So saying that, I'll actually move to Darnell, who spent the longest amount of time with Cody, and then open it up. Darnell, how do you view Cody strategically this season? Is there anything that sticks out to you or jumps out to you as a positive or negative that he did that you feel like was strategic?
Um, I felt like he knew like what like I'll go back to the Final Four HOH. Like he didn't reveal it until afterwards, so like I don't know if that's what he was actually doing or not. But when it came down to like it being me and Zach for that HOH, he did say that he was like trying to throw it to like block Zach off so that I can get the win. I feel like that was like some sort of strategy. As far as other things go, I don't know. Like, and he also saw the bigger picture, the fact that like if either one of us wanted a chance to win, we would have to take out Devin, and he was very adamant about that.
Open it up to everybody else. Any thoughts about Cody as a strategic player force this season? Is there anything that sticks out to you positively or negatively about Cody strategic game this season? Don't jump up all at once.
Actually, can I add one more thing that I just thought about?
Sure.
Um, I have to. I mean, I know comps are probably going to come up at another point, but I
Already
I
talked
want
about
to
it.
also go back to. I do remember as soon as he came back, he did win that HOH,
Show dip.
and immediately after it got taken over by the anonymous HOH.
Sure did.
And I do remember some of my conversations with him around that time. And so I do think that happening the way that it happened is, and with him coming back and immediately power being taken away and him not knowing where it came from, it did sit with him for a while. Um, Granted, I don't know how he processes things, but I know he brought it up a few times to me. So maybe that played into how he kind of strategized and thought about how to maneuver in the game moving forward, and maybe determining like maybe I need to play like in the background as much as possible, X, Y, and Z. Because I do remember that being like a thing that he brought up a few times after he won and then his power got taken.
Any thoughts? Any other thoughts? See, now I'm gonna feel like I had to ask a question. Is it when it comes to Cody? Is there a sense of like the fucking like I don't know, like like is there a sense of like I don't know what you want me to say because Cody for me is a bit of a mystery. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's for me at least. I didn't play closely with him.
I wouldn't necessarily say a mystery. He just Devin's been in the game since the beginning. Cody left the game for a good chunk of time, came back, and I think ultimately because there was a lot going on, he did just kind of sit in the cut for a little bit until and yes, he was talking to people, but the closeness of how much he was talking to people was, I guess, a strategic move on his place, and he just kind of weaved his way to the end.
So let
That's just
me
how I view
I think that I understand that. I think that's a great point. I think if I were to play devil's advocate to all of you, and you can feel free to chime in with your thoughts. But if you are Cody and you come into this particular season where the house is very clearly divided, whether you guys pretended like it wasn't, it was. You know what I mean? It was fucking divided, and you guys were not budging on those sides. To come into a situation like that, to have your HOH stolen, to be ranked last, if it's strategically speaking, if I'm in Cody's shoes, the obvious thing to do is to let everybody fight and to shut the fuck up. Strategically speaking. And he did that to a certain extent, for better or for worse. How much credit do we give him for coming into a very volatile situation and doing the right thing? I'm trying to be, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think if he comes tomorrow and explains that as his strategy and that's what he did, then I'll give him credit for it. I do think it's a possibility. And I do know I had a little bit of conversations with him, like just about where he thought his placement was in the game. So I do think part of what you're saying did go through his mind. I would feel more comfortable giving him credit for it if he comes in tomorrow and says from top to bottom that was his strategy. And if it was, then he'll get my credit for it.
Is there a question mark that
I
it's like
think,
not intentional? So sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. But is it
oh, you're good.
I, uh, I'm not gonna say that it wasn't part not intentional and part
like is it
love.
I'll open it to everybody. Like how much of it is just like Cody just sort of ended up there versus
I
got
think
himself there?
I think had things been different when he got back, like if he had not won that HOH and he was on the block because he was the lowest ranked, his strategy would have been completely different. He would have
I
been a
agree.
different person.
I agree.
And on top of that, if we go back to when he was HOH before it got snatched away from him, he was talking some big shit. And, and so, like, had he stayed HOH, like, who knows how that would have affected him in the long run in this game as well.
So
And
is that a moment where you sort of view Cody as like that moment strategically is just like not so great because he was sort of big and bold before his in that brief window where his HOH wasn't stolen. How many of y'all look at that and go, I don't know. Like,
I think it was
We'll
a
never
humbling
know.
It's
experience
a
for
what
We'll,
if.
sure.
It's a what if moment. Like, what
yeah,
if?
we'll never know.
Well, yeah, we won't. He might tell us tomorrow, but we'll never know.
anybody else? Does anyone else have a sense, like, to again reiterate that he sort of just ends up here versus gets himself here? Is there anyone that agrees or disagrees in any direction?
I think it's a little bit of both.
I can
Interesting.
agree with that.
Why do you say
Yeah.
that, Snoops?
Um, because his strategy was to lay low and like have the relationships be really selective, and it worked.
Well articulated. Good job. Okay. Anybody else on Cody's strategic game before we move on? Alrighty. Let's get into it. Let me just drink this. Devin's strategic game. What are your thoughts? I know there are a lot of thoughts, and I know that. Um, I just want to start off with just an open statement. Does anyone have a general statement about Keyshawn?
I don't know if there was a strategy. Um,
Really?
like, and I don't mean that in a. I take that back. I think the strategy was strictly being social, being social to a degree of working everyone that was here, providing consistency, jumping in and pivoting things when need be. But literally, like, I think the sole strategy was to be social and to be everywhere and to feed certain things when they need to be fed to protect his safety or to build temporary trust. And I think, when the opportunity came to strike, he struck. But I think the top thing that he strategized, or the top piece to his game, I think, was his social game. And I think he strategized on how to use it, but I think his pure strategy was his social game.
I hear what you're saying. And I think that is a like an age-old Big Brother debate. We find ourselves into where does social end and strategy begin, and I think I you know I don't want to say too much, but I get what you're saying. Does anyone else have any thoughts about his strategy or about Devin as a strategic player? Do you feel similar to Keyshawn that it is hard to separate his strategy from his social game? Y'all can't sit here.
I think his whole game was more strategy than social. That's how I see
I
it.
kind of agree with that.
I think from the moment he got into the game, day one, it was strategy. Everything that he did was very intentional. That I think he doesn't have to think about being social. That just is a natural thing for him. He has to think about how to strategically move through the game.
And he was making kind of strategic antisocial moves throughout the game where he would kind of build up alliances and then also tear them back down. Like he kicked Darnell out of an alliance. Sam, he kicked you out of an alliance, right? These weren't like socially beneficial moves. He was making cutthroat strategic decisions. So I view his game a little bit more strategic than social. I don't think in some of those moments, I don't know that he was really thinking about the social game because if he was, I don't know that he would have
I
done it the
agree.
way he did. I don't think there was any need to kick Darnell out of that alliance. I think he got paranoid, to be honest, and yeah.
No,
So
I think that's a fair point. There were certain times that, so for example, with Darnell being kicked out, Samantha being kicked out, that I think on paper should be a strategic error. You should pay
I didn't even know I got kicked out.
some sort of consequence. That was going to lead me to my next question. That consequence never really came. Can anyone explain that to me?
Explain what?
That there are instances, again, we'll go back to Darnell being kicked out of this alliance. He wasn't even aware of it. Samantha being kicked out of an alliance, she highly suspected she was,
Yeah, I already knew with how everybody was moving. I already knew.
But my question is how it's possible that things that on paper should have a strategic consequence, he should pay a price for on paper removing two people in an alliance that he made or he didn't even make. I don't know who made them, but that he was a part of.
And I think it goes back to again. So I hear Sam and O'Rear completely about the strategic part, and hearing you talk about it, I completely agree. But I think for
Uh,
those who are,
Finish your
what do you
thought
say?
and then Phil's here.
Huh?
Finish your thought and then Phil's here.
But I think for those of us who were not in those groups or any of those things with him, and for him to still maintain a level of something with us outside of it, it has to be, you have to include the social aspect. And I think there are things that you guys didn't know that he did to y'all, and there are plenty of things that he said, I'm sure, to every single one of us that are not we're not in those groups, that we never came clean and said up front that we should have. So like that's where it's not just strategic on his part. Socially, strategically, I've created these groups. I'm doing this and the third, but socially, the people who are not in my groups, I'm still feeding a little bit of what I got to feed to keep myself from finding myself in danger every single round. And that's where I think he had that balance, and why a lot of his secrets did get leaked and still haven't been leaked. Because I know there's still secrets I've been keeping from that motherfucker for the game. And I know I'm not the only one here. You know what I'm saying? So I think he did a fair balance of that.
I
I
agree with you on that. I feel like there was a bit of strategic moves that y'all saw more than I did. I think I saw more of his social moves, but I also feel like on some level everybody was expendable to him because he kept that balance so good.
Yeah, I
Courtney,
agree.
I want to come back to you in a second. Phil Yum. Phil,
Yes, yes.
you're just joining. I want to catch you up on everything. Darnell won part one. Devin won part two. Devin won part three. Said Darnell, get out of here. So,
Right.
so I want to talk about quickly just your thoughts on Cody's as a social player, and then Cody as a competitor, and then Cody as a strategic player. Just your thoughts quickly on just those three aspects about Cody's gameplay.
I do feel like, at least with me, socially, Cody did keep a consistency with that. I feel like that was good on him, at least with my relationship. I almost felt like I'm not confident that he did that with everyone, and that would be like maybe my negative socially. Strategically, I think if he is able to explain that he was playing the game in a manner to lower his threat level, then I could appreciate that, because I feel like strategically his threat level is the lowest of every single person in the game. And I do think that's important because he is literally in Final Two, probably because of that. So if he can explain that and that was intentional, then I could see that. But otherwise, I'm having a hard time getting a grasp on his strategic game. Physically, girl, did he win anything? Oh, he came back in the game. So that's cute or whatever. But that's all. Cute.
And give me a brief overview on what how you feel about Devin socially and competitively.
I do feel like with Devin, it's honestly they're a big antithesis to each other in my opinion. I feel like with Devin, it's almost the opposite. He was social with everyone. He had a strategic bond with everyone in this game at some point of the game. Physically, he's winning so many different competitions. I feel like he's very well rounded in all three aspects, and all three were really strong, in my opinion, if I'm being honest.
So now I will go. We're talking about Devin strategically now, and so I want to come back to Courtney because I think Courtney, out of everyone this season, you probably had the most unique relationship with Devin. I'm curious to know, or yeah, no, I'm curious to know if you feel like his relationship with you was in fact strategic. And the reason I ask that question is because I do think that there is an element, there is something, there is a feeling of safety when you know somebody has an outward target. And I'm wondering if that you felt a lot of the quote unquote frenemy from Devin was intentional, so everyone around Devin goes, well, one of his targets is Courtney for sure.
Um, I think because we didn't really trust each other, he knew what to say to me to either make me overthink or have to trust it. Um, I also knew that I was relying on the Illuminati a lot because I had the numbers, right? So it was really just figuring out what was he saying, is it true, and taking it for its word at some point because he did lie to me, and that really sent me over the edge because it was like, well, now I really can't trust him. And I did try to spin that angle too, and it was like, well, I'm just gonna pull his move back on him. So I have to say there was a lot of strategic movements there. He knew what to say, when to say it, and he knew how much I was in my head.
So I want to go to at least two people that worked with Devin very closely, Snoops and O'Rear. How do you guys view Devin strategically? Obviously, you guys worked step and step, you know, from jump. So,
I mean, I think he did a great job. I think like what you were saying about having Courtney be an outward enemy, frenemy, I think that definitely did have me gain more trust in him. I think that's absolutely true. Um, I think he did a great job. I don't think it was personal. I do think he sometimes lied when he didn't have to, but I think to him, he felt like he had to stay safe. He did everything that he could to get here, and I think he deserves it.
I will say, uh, I have the interesting perspective of having played with him the first time and the second time,
hmm
and it is night and day. Granted, that was his first org ever that he ever played. The first time I played with him, and he was a mess. Like he was paranoid. He was buying into people's bullshit. He was making enemies, getting in fights, screaming at people, calling house meetings. This was like a completely different dude, and I don't even know how to take that. I don't know. I don't know if he learned his lesson or like maybe he is just calmer now. I don't. I really don't know. But uh, to see the like light and dark side of both of it, it's really impressive to me. I feel like he's come a long way, honestly, as a player. And yeah, I mean, strategically, again, I think he's not perfect. Like I said, I don't think I think he got paranoid in this game and like kind of went after people when he didn't need to. But at the same time, it didn't blow back on him. And I think that's a big difference between him and the last time he played.
any other thoughts on Devin's strategic gameplay? All right.
I will say,
Oh,
hold on
yep.
a second. My bad. I will say that I do think that there are obviously a lot of positives. There were some points where I wasn't super strong on it, especially at the beginning of the game. There were certain things that he would, like, we would talk about and he would do, and I would be like, okay, I'm not sure if this is the right move. Like week one, Judy, nominate this person, read your DMs, stuff like that. I'm like, okay, that was making me feel a little bit wonky about his game, and I feel like he controlled it over time. But at the beginning, there definitely were some missteps. And Snoop, you made a point. It's like sometimes he lied when he didn't have to. A part of me wants to be a little bitter, babe. He like, you doing a lot. But that's all I wanted to say.
Any other thoughts? All right. So, we will wrap it up with a bow and say this. Obviously, they both played very different games. But all I ask is that you hear them out. You know what I mean? Whether it works or not, that's between you and the Lord above. I really don't give a fuck. But ultimately, you guys, finale will be tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Basically, the final two will give an intro. Then you guys will ask a question to each person, right? One question. Depending on the question, how they answer, I'll allow a follow up, but don't do too much. Let's all try and be cool. I feel like y'all will just allow it to push through. Okay, but try and keep it to one question. If the question needs a follow up, keep the follow up simple and noise. Okay. Then they'll give sort of an ending, and then we'll go into the vote. During the vote, you can say something positive or negative. You can say a statement. Just don't allude to who you're voting for. Okay. And then have we'll have a reunion that you don't have to stay for. Okay. That'll just be to talk about all of the shit and have a drink and hurrah. Okay. Um, yeah. Other than that, everybody say arrivederci to Facebook by Facebook. Oh, sorry. Last thing, audience. I will be posting polls for audience favorites, hero of the season, villain of the season. Those things will always be fun. And we will see you guys tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Now everybody can say arrivederci to Facebook by Facebook.
Arrivederci, Facebook.